I think when it comes to beauty, there's two components essentially, or attraction, I should say, attractiveness. One is baseline attractive. So that's like nutrition, hygiene, um, basically cross culturally, universally, everybody finds clear skin, clear hair, clear, smooth skin, symmetrical face. All of those represent physical beauty, right? Which is they're biologically healthy. So that's one universal aspect of attractiveness. The other is, I guess, what I would call like signals, right? Which is it's not beautiful to other outsiders, but it's beautiful to insiders, right? So these could actually be costly signals, right? These could actually be costly signals. So things like the neck braces, right, or things like foot binding, right, or the big earrings, right? All these things are very costly signals, right? But they're valuable signals to the insider, but not to the outsider, right? Same with like plastic surgery as well, right? This is, I think, why, for example, um, when you see, when, let's say, a modern person who lives in a city, when they see like hunter gatherers, right? Amazonian tribes or something, right? They're totally unreadable, right? Their facial expressions, their body posture, how they move, right? They look human, of course, right? And they are human, but you can't really read their expressions because it's just totally different, right? Their way of life, right? How they behave, it's just total, right? Everything about them is completely different. Because of that, it almost kind of feels a little uncanny, right? A little bit uncanny. You just can't read what they're actually thinking and feeling, right? Because of this, it's not really attractive either, right? Until you live with it, right? There's a lot of reports, basically, people, outsiders who live with these very, very insular tribes, right? At at first, they can't tell anybody, right? They can't tell the difference between anybody, right? Of course, right? Because they're an outsider. But once they spend weeks, months, years, then they're like, oh wow, right? I can tell who's who, right? And how they're different, right? It's just calibration, basically. It's calibrating the mind to like subtle differences, right? Of course, like an isolated Amazonian tribe would have way less genetic diversity than, you know, like people in New York, right? From all over the world, right? And of course, Africa has the most genetic diversity, but New York City probably has the most cultural diversity, right? You have people from everywhere, right? From all types of cultures. Basically, so for example, there's research that says like mixed race people are more attractive. I don't think that's quite correct. Um, my hypothesis is if you take any, like, let's say you have group A and group B, right? Group A will find itself more attractive, right? Internally, right? Because you have in-group bias, right? And group B will find itself more attractive than group A, right? But then if you have a mixed race, right? A group A plus a group B individual, right? Then they would, on average, right? If you average out everybody, like group A and group B, on average, the mixed race individual would be more attractive. However, within each group, they would not be as attractive as if they were just group A or just group B, right? So basically, I think the effect is you averaging out populations together. That's what gives you the effect. So like let's make up numbers, right? Let's maybe a pure group A individual would be 8 out of 10 to a pure group A individual, but they would be 3 out of 10 to a group B individual and vice versa, right? But then a mixed race individual would, let's say, be 7 out of 10 in both, right? So if you average it out, the mixed race individual would be more attractive on average, right? But within each group, they would not be the most attractive, right? And that's again coming from the signals, right? Because no, we're not. most, all of us, right? We're all humans. We're not genetically crazy different. However, culturally, right? Culturally, phenotypically, we are very subtly different, and I think that's what's causing this effect, right? So the two aspects of beauty, it's physical, biological health, and it's like cultural phenotypic markers, right? Those are the two aspects of beauty or attractiveness.